It's a story that's been years in the making. A landmark pay agreement has finally been reached for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. So let's unpack this historic deal and really dig into what it means for the future of policing right here in Canada. Okay, so let's start with the agreement itself. After a long, and I mean long, and pretty challenging period, the RCMP and the National Police Federation have finally secured a new deal. And this isn't just some routine update. It's a really significant milestone for the force and its members. So, what's the big deal? Why are we calling it historic? Well, get this. It's the very first collective agreement for RCMP officers since the force officially unionized back in 2019. That's huge. It represents a fundamental shift in how everything from negotiations to member representation is handled inside one of Canada's oldest institutions. All right, let's talk numbers. The one number that's been grabbing all the headlines, 23.7%. That's the cumulative pay raise this agreement delivers over 6 years. Now, this isn't just a random number. This substantial increase is specifically designed to tackle years of pay stagnation and finally bring RCMP compensation up to speed with other major police services across the country. But to really get why that 23.7% figure is so important, we actually need to rewind a bit and look at the context. See, this deal didn't just happen in a vacuum. It comes after a long period where pay for RCMP members was really falling behind, and that was creating some serious challenges for the force. And believe me, the road to this agreement has been a long one. The retroactive pay, for example, it actually goes all the way back to 2017. Then, a couple of years later, in 2019, the force officially unionized, which created the National Police Federation to represent its members. And now, all these years later, that union has secured its first ever landmark agreement. So, what was the core problem this whole deal was trying to solve? Simple, a growing pay gap. For years, you had other police forces getting salary bumps, while RCMP compensation just stayed, well, pretty flat. And this wasn't just about morale for the officers already on the job. It was making it tougher and tougher to attract new talent. Okay, so now that we know the backstory, let's dive into the nitty-gritty and break down the specifics of this new agreement, because it's structured to be way more than just a simple one-time pay bump. The goal here is both immediate relief and long-term stability. The whole pay increase is really built on 3 core components. First up, you've got retroactive pay. That's to cover the period going all the way back to 2017. Second, there are scheduled annual increments, which means steady growth year over year. And third, and this one is probably the most crucial for the future, are what they call market adjustments. So what exactly are these market adjustments? Well, think of them as a built-in chuck-up system. They're a forward-thinking mechanism designed to regularly compare RCMP salaries with what other major police forces are paying. The whole point is to create a system that stops a big pay gap, like the one we just saw, from ever happening again. It's a real game changer. But here's the thing. This agreement is about so much more than just the money. It also tackles the day-to-day realities of being an officer. The goal is to create a healthier, more sustainable working environment. And that, of course, has a direct impact on all of us. So you might be asking, what else is in this deal? Well, the National Police Federation really went to bat for changes that would make a real, tangible difference to the well-being and the effectiveness of officers out on the street. 3 big areas really stand out here. First, the agreement brings in new provisions to manage workloads and help fight officer burnout, which is a huge issue. Second, it promises a significant increase in access to mental health resources, and that is absolutely critical in modern policing. And finally, it's allocating funds to modernize equipment, making sure officers have the tools they need to do their job safely. And what's the end game for all these changes? It's pretty straightforward. Boost recruitment and retention. By offering competitive pay and showing a real, deep commitment to officer well-being, the RCMP is trying to become an employer of choice again, a place where new recruits want to go and where experienced officers want to stay and build their careers. So, let's zoom out. What does all of this mean for the future of the RCMP, and really, for policing across Canada? Well, this agreement isn't just about fixing a past problem. It's about setting a whole new foundation for the force as it moves forward. When you look at the whole picture, it's clear this agreement is a potential turning point for the RCMP. By finally tackling these long-standing issues of pay and working conditions, this deal isn't just about strengthening the force itself. It's poised to play a really big role in shaping the future of policing in Canada for years to come. Ultimately, it's a renewed recognition of the absolutely vital role these officers play in keeping all of us safe.